this video, we are going to talk about rational and irrational numbers. So first of all, we need to define this number. So first, we have rational numbers. When we say rational numbers, these are numbers that can be written as a ratio of two integers. Or in short, we can write these numbers as a simple fraction. Okay, so let's have these three examples. Let's say we have 1.5. Is 1.5 a rational number? Yes, 1.5 is a rational number because we can actually write 1.5 as a simple fraction or as a ratio, which is 3/2. Okay, so wag po kayong malilito if nakikita niyo yung word na ratio but then you are seeing a fraction here because way back when you were on grade 3, ratio can be also written as in fraction notation, no? As a fraction notation. So, 3/2 or 3:2 is the equivalent fraction or ratio of 1.5. Therefore, kung kaya natin siya isulat into a simple fraction or ratio, therefore, the given is a rational number. Okay, and then the second one, we have 7. 7 is also a rational number because we can write this as a simple fraction. No, we can write 7 as 7/1 kasi 7 is a whole number and then the denominator is, of course, 1. So 7:1, we can write 7 as a simple fraction or as a ratio. Therefore, 7 is a rational number. So as well as this last example, we have 0.333 and as you can see, we have an ellipsis here. So meaning dire-diretso siya because this example is an example of a repeating decimal and repeating decimals are also rational numbers because we can actually write repeating decimals into simple fraction or ratio. So it is equal to 1/3 or 1:3. And then when we say irrational numbers, we are talking about numbers that cannot be written as a simple fraction. So kabaliktaran siya ni rational. Kung si rational, sila yung mga numbers na we can rewrite as a simple fraction or as a ratio. Si irrational, we cannot rewrite them as a simple fraction or as a ratio. No? So this is an example of an irrational number. So as you can see, this symbol looks familiar, right? So when you get the circumference of a circle, area of a circle, you will see this symbol. So this symbol is called a pi. And then yung pi, meron siyang equivalent na value, diba? Which is this. So yan yung value ni pi. And then dire-diretso siya. As you can see, napapansin nyo, non-terminating yung value ni pi. Ibig sabihin, hindi humihinto, hindi exact yung decimal places, hindi tumitigil. Walang katapusan yung value. As well as, non-repeating din siya. Napapansin nyo, walang umuulit na decimal digits or decimal number. Paiba-iba siya lagi. Therefore, this symbol, pi, is considered as irrational. Okay, so in short, when we summarize rational and irrational numbers, we need to remember that rational numbers, these are composed of terminating decimals. So when we say terminating decimals, sila yung mga decimal numbers na may exact number na decimal places. Katulad kanina, 1.5. That is an example of a terminating decimal. Kapag terminating decimal siya, therefore rational siya. And then, kapag ang given ay fraction, simple fraction, rational din siya. Rational number. And then, kapag ang given is a repeating decimal, therefore, rational number din siya. Kasi lahat sila pwede nating isulat as a simple fraction or as a ratio. Kaya sila ay considered as a rational number. Kapag naman sinabi natin na irrational number, these are numbers na non-terminating decimals. So kapag sinabi natin non-terminating decimals, dire-diretso yung decimal places or decimal numbers. Walang katapusan, katulad ng value ng pi kanina. Nakita nyo may ellipsis, so meaning dire-diretso siya. And then, non-repeating decimal. Dire-diretso siya, at the same time, walang umuulit doon sa value ng mga decimal numbers. Kaya si pi, napansin nyo, ayan, non-repeating and non-terminating decimal. Therefore, si pi is considered as an irrational number. Okay? So, I researched some symbols na considered as irrational number. So, first of all nga, si pi, irrational siya. Kasi ayan yung value niya is non-terminating and non-repeating decimal yung value niya. Therefore, pi is considered as irrational. As well as this, yung number na e or yung letter e or yung variable na e. So, this is called Euler's number. So, this is also another famous irrational number. So, ito yung value ng Euler's number. So, 2.71. Just like pi, napansin nyo, the value of this variable e here is non-terminating, hindi siya humihinto, and non-repeating, walang nauulit sa kanya. Therefore, this symbol is considered as irrational number. As well as this, yung pangatlo, we have the golden ratio. Okay, this is also an irrational number kasi tingnan nyo yung value niya. Non-terminating, non-repeating, therefore, this is considered as irrational. And then we also have the square roots of different numbers, no? That can be considered as irrational. So, I give here two examples. The first one is the square root of 3. So, kapag kinalculate natin to using our calculators, it will be like this, no? It will be like this, decimal. So, napansin nyo yung decimal number natin, non-repeating, non-terminating, therefore, square root of 3 is a rational number. As well as square root of 99. Kapag kinalculate natin to using our calculators, it will give you this answer. So, as you can see, non-repeating, non-terminating, therefore, they are considered as irrational numbers. So, now we will move on to the square roots of this number. So, when we say the square root of a number, it is a value that when multiplied by itself, it gives the number. So, you need to remember the term perfect squares. So, ito, kailangan nyo itong tandaan yung mga perfect square na number. So, paano ba siya, ma'am, nakuha? Si 1, kaya siya nakuha kasi product siya ng 1 times 1. So, itong mga perfect square numbers, product siya ng mga numbers na minultiply sa sarili nila. So, si 1, kaya siya nakuha kasi 1 times 1. Si 4, kaya siya nakuha dahil 2 times 2. Si 9, kaya siya nakuha kasi 3 times 3. Sila yung product nun. And then, kapag kinuha natin yung square root nila, ito yung lalabas. So, square root ni 1, that is 1. Square root ni 4, that is 2. Okay? Square root ni 9, that is 3. Square root ni 16, that is 4. Dire-diretso lang siya. So, you need to remember perfect square numbers para madalian kayo sa lesson. And, magagamit nyo din to sa mga higher years. So, if you will be getting the square root of a perfect square number, halimbawa, kukunin natin yung square root ng perfect square numbers, you will come up with an exact number. Of course, yeah. You will come up with an exact number, and then, the given is considered as a rational number. And then, if you will be getting the square root of a non-perfect square number, paano kapag kukuha ka ng square root ng hindi naman perfect square na number? So, you will most probably come up with a non-terminating decimal. So, pwede yung makuha mong answer, pero not all the time. So, most probably, that this is just a probability, no? Most probably, non-terminating and non-repeating decimal yung lalabas dyan. Meaning, yung given mo is an irrational number. So, let us observe this part here, this example. So, dito, you can use your calculators for you to be able to solve this easily. So, square root of 4, ang answer niya ay 2. We get an exact answer. Therefore, square root of 4 is a rational number. Okay, so ganun lang yun. And then, next one, excuse. Next one, square root of 8. And then, you will come up with this value, no? Non-repeating and non-terminating decimal numbers. Therefore, square root of 8 is an irrational number. And then we have square root of 9 over 25. So kapag ganito yung given, you will get the square root of the numerator and the denominator separately. So square root of 9, that is 3. Okay, kasi 3 times 3 is 9. And then square root of 25, that is 5. Kasi 5 times 5 is 25. Therefore, we did get an exact number. No? Exact number is 3 over 5. So therefore, square root of 9 over 25 is a rational number. And then the last one, paano naman to? Square root of 2 over 5. So ito, you can just calculate it using your calculators. So it will give you this value. So 0.632456. It is non-terminating and non-repeating decimal. Therefore, square root of 2 over 5 is an example of an irrational number. And then the last part of the module is how do we approximate the whole number square root of irrational number? Kasi, di ba kapag kukuha tayo ng square root, madali na lang kapag rational eh. Ayun na, like this example. Like 1 and 3. Madali kapag rational yung given. Okay? Madali. Makukuha natin yung square root niya. Exact yung makukuha nating square root kapag rational number yung given. Paano yung irrational numbers? Pwede ba nating i-estimate or i-approximate yung square root niya in whole numbers? Of course, we can do that. So, how do we do that, Ma'am Noemi? So, punta tayo sa board. So, let's say, for example, I have here an irrational number which is square root of 33. So, kapag kinalculate natin sa calculators natin yung square root ni 33, our calculators will give us this value. Ayan, 5.74455626 and so on and so forth. As you can see, it will give us a non-terminating and non-repeating decimal. This is justifiable kasi square root of 33 is an irrational number. So, we cannot get an exact square root for it actually. But, actually, we can. No? Pero hindi siya yung pinaka-exact. We will just estimate or approximate. Kumbaga ba, we will just get the probable square root of these irrational numbers using whole numbers. Okay? So, paano po ba, ma'am, yung mangyayari dyan? So, di ba, meron tayong table kanina sa module which are the list of perfect square numbers. Okay? And then the given is square root of 33. Ngayon, titingin kayo doon sa table ng mga perfect square numbers. And then, pipili kayo ng dalawang perfect square numbers na kung saan mapapagitnaan si 33. So, in this case, 25 and 36. Kasi dito, malalagay, mapupunta sa gitna si 33 if we will choose 25 and 36. Diyan siya mapupunta. So, we have 25 is less than square root of 33 and square root of 33 is less than 36. Okay, we have now this. Now, what do we need to do is that we will write this into a square root pala. Okay. So now, okay na. Nakapili na tayo ng dalawang perfect square na kung saan mapapagitnaan yung given natin. Now, pipili tayo kung saan mas malapit si 33. So for you to be able to do that, pwede nyo anak isubtract. 36 minus 33, the answer is 3. Diba? And then 33 minus 25, the answer is 8. So, saan siya mas malapit? Mas malapit siya dito kasi mas maliit yung difference nila nung sinubtract mo. Di ba? Dito 3, dito 8. So, mas malapit si square root of 33 kay square root of 36. Therefore, ang estimated na square root niya ay yung square root nung number or nung perfect square na malapit sa kanya. Ang square root ni 36 ay 6. Okay? Therefore, we can say that the approximate square root of 33 is 6. So, in short, magbe-base lang tayo dun sa perfect square na malapit yung given natin. And therefore, kukunin natin yung square root ng perfect square na yon. And that will be your final answer. So, in this case, si 33 kasi mas malapit siya kay 36. And then, we get the square root of 36, which is 6. Therefore, that is the approximate square root of 33. 6. Okay? So, let's say we have another example. Let's say I have square root of 18. So again, punta tayo dun sa table of perfect squares and then we need to choose among these perfect squares kung saan pwede natin ilagay yung given natin sa gitna. So in this case, we have 16 and then 25. Dun siya pwede sa gitna ng dalawa. So square root of 16 less than square root of 18, and then less than square root of 25. So, observing this, saan kaya mas malapit si 18? Sa 25 kaya or sa 16? So, again, you can subtract para malaman nyo kung saan siya mas malapit. So, 25 minus 18, that is 7. 7 yung pagitan nila. And then 18 minus 16, 2. So, dito mas malapit siya sa 16. Kasi, 2 units lang pagitan nila. Dalawa lang. Dito, 7 units. So, therefore, we will get the square root of 16, which is 4. And that is now the approximate square root of the given. So, ang answer natin, the approximate, when we say approximate, hindi to exact. Okay? Approximately lang to. Kumbaga, probability, ganun, estimate, ganun. The approximate square root of 18 is 4. Ayun. Which is the square root of 16. Yung number na mas malapit sa kanya. And then, let's say I have the last example and we will solve for the approximate square root of that irrational number. Let's say I have square root of 131. So this is an irrational number. Again, pipili lang tayo dun sa list of perfect square numbers natin kung saan malalagay natin si 131 sa gitna. So in this case, we can use square root of 121 less than square root of 131, then less than square root of 144. Doon natin siya pwedeng ilagay sa gitna yung given natin between 121 and 144. So, between 121 and 144, saan kaya mas malapit si 131? So, you can subtract for you to know kung ilang units yung layo nila. So, 144 minus 131, yung units na layo nila is 13 units. How about 131 minus 121? 10 units lang dito. So, therefore, si 131 mas malapit siya dito kay 121. Therefore, ang approximate square root ni 131 ay yung square root ni 121, which is 11. So, 11 less than square root of 131 less than square root of 144. Now, we can say that our answer is the approximate square root of 131 is 11, which is the square root of the perfect square number closest to 131. So, that is how you get the square root or estimate or approximate the square root of irrational numbers. So that ends our topic with regards to rational and irrational numbers.